Good morning. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. This morning I've selected a few poems and a few songs to share with you. The first is a song entitled, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child. It is what we call a negro-spiritual. Negro-spiritual music was often sung a cappella. This particular one was first recorded by the Fisk Jubilee Singers, an early choir from Fisk University in the United States around the 1870s. We often sing an arrangement by Harriette Hamilton. It goes like this. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a long way from home. And sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long way from home, a long way from home. Next, I would like to read a poem by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was an American author, actress, screenwriter, dancer, poet, and activist. Civil rights activist, she is best known for a 1969 memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which made literary history as the first non-fiction bestseller by an African-American woman. Angelou received several honors throughout her career, including 2 NAACP Image Awards in Outstanding Literary Work in 2005 and 2009. This poem is called Caged Bird. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips its wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a beautiful and fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the singing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Next, I will sing you a song composed by Oscar Peterson. He's a Montreal jazz pianist, famous beyond compare. He was born in 1925 in St. Henry in Montreal. created a trio with Oliver Jones. His sister Daisy Sweeney started a gospel choir in Montreal called the Montreal Jubilation Gospel Choir, of which I was proudly a part of for 25 years. So Oscar Peterson wrote this piece as an instrumental piece, but lyrics were required. It became sort of a civil rights hymn in 1962. It is sung traditionally by youth choirs around the world. It's become the unofficial theme choir song for youth. It is called Hymn to Freedom. And like I said, Oscar Peterson wrote it in 1962 with Harriette Wilson writing the following lyrics. I said Harriette Wilson, but it's Harriette Hamilton, excuse me. When every heart joins every heart and together yearns for liberty, that's when we'll be free. When every hand joins every hand and together mold our destiny, that's when we'll be free. Any hour, any day, the time soon will come when men will live in dignity. Well, that's when we'll be free. When every man joins in our song and together sing in harmony, that's when we'll be free. You may have noticed that we've been going through a bit of history, a bit chronologically, and I will end by reading a poem by Amanda Gorman. Amanda Gorman became the first and youngest, I will say the youngest, poet laureate in the United States. And she read the following poem during Barack Obama's second inauguration. The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. So we lift our gazes, not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if anything else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. Even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried, that will forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one should make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all of the bridges we've made. That is the promise to Glade. The hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American or Canadian or from wherever you are is more than the pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, that would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. Of this effort was very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can periodically be delayed, but it can never be permanently defeated. In truth, in this faith, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared in its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such terrifying hour, but within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how can we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burden. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than one we were left. With every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the golden hills of the west. We will rise from the windswept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation. In every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be